What's up, everybody? This is Kev JB. I hope everybody is doing well today. Here on this channel, we discuss a lot about humanity, coming to light with your identity and coming into your own purpose and things like that. However, very recently, we have been using this Project 2025 as well as some other things related to that to discuss making your own personal choices, being aware of where you stand, and dealing with some really serious issues regarding some stuff within society, because it helps in deciphering and discerning where your own humanity and where your own purpose lies, all that type of stuff, right? So if you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you are alerted every single time that you are catching a new video here. If you are a regular, make sure that you hit the like button. We're going to be discussing something that is kind of unpopular. To be quite honest, I'm a little nervous in trying to discuss this particular topic because I have no idea how this is going to turn out. But I think this is something that is definitely worth enlightening ourselves on how to handle this particular challenge, especially among Christians and those who are religious. But I think I definitely want to deal with the Christian crowd. Number one, this is something that I am most familiar in. I'm pretty sure that if you're an American, you are definitely aware of the Christian faith, probably more so than any other faith, unless you're specifically growing up into another religion. And how this factors into Project 2025, how it factors into the aspect of Trump and everything else. So let's go ahead and get started. I was looking at a podcast episode from The Basement with Tim Ross, and there was a recent one that they were discussing with Kirk Franklin. Now, I'm not necessarily going to get into that particular interview because it's actually not about that at all. But as he and Kirk Franklin were talking and they were discussing things within, the Christian faith and what I think Kirk Franklin, hey, Eclectic Tarot, good afternoon to you from here. What he had called was there like this usually like this scrimmage. If you actually go to that particular podcast, you'll have an understanding of what he says by that, and they go and he and Tim Ross go deeper into that. It really dawned on me that I think that for a lot of Christians, we have this kind of understanding of we should kind of just be more in line with the faith of Jesus Christ, that he came to save us from our sins, and the idea that as Christians, our primary focus should be on Jesus Christ and spreading the gospel and things like that. And if you're a Christian, yes, that is the very thing that you should be doing. However, the issue that we're having at hand is that I don't think a lot of people are accepting the fact that this particular religion, this Christian religion, is founded upon division. It's founded upon the idea of separating oneself from traditional, from something that is seen to be improved and more revolutionary than where it first started. Now, this automatically started happening when you're talking about Jesus, right? And Jesus being the fulfillment of the Mosaic law that was for the Israelites, right? Then you have Paul that steps in, and this is how Paul starts introducing the idea of Christianity to the Gentiles and being able to fashion a system in a way where everyone is able to partake into the understanding of Jesus Christ. And when you start even getting into the going to the Roman Catholic, Catholicism, and how the Protestant sector of Christianity branches off from that. As things stand now, even within to even get into that, even among the Protestants, there's a whole lot of divisions that separate themselves even from that. There are at least more than 200 Christian denominations that are in Christianity. That's a lot of separation just from the religious standpoint alone. And I understand the need to talk about the most important message is that Jesus Christ comes to save and, help you to deliver for your sins. You confess your sins to him. But in order for us to kind of really get an understanding of why things are not really working out within the Christian faith, you have to deal with the fact that at its root and at its core, there is an instinct to separate oneself as something that is improved and better. And I think even in this modern time, where you have like even like the newer generation of Christians, they're doing the same thing from the standpoint of trying to get away from the traditions, because the traditions are very legalistic and stuff like that, which I definitely agree with. There are some valid points to that, but you also have to understand how much you are contributing to the flaws within the root of Christianity. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and get into the Christian denomination, because it's going to play a role with what I'm going to be talking about in discussion of Christian nationalism, and how does it play in a role with Project 2025 and that type of stuff. But we have to start talking about this. Let's see, because there are a lot of these things. Normally, I would just simply go to, okay. All right, so here we go. Let me see if I got my screen share. Okay, let me stop sharing this one. So I had it on Wikipedia. I had it on Wikipedia because I am going to be using Wikipedia for something. But I need for us to go through like this particular search. I'm gonna try to enlarge it too while I'm at it. First, so my shout out once again. Make sure that you hit the like. Make sure that you share this out to somebody, because we're going to really start getting into this topic. So you have the largest Christian body out here. That is, let me get myself out of the way. You have the largest Christian body out here, which is the Roman Catholic Church, right? This is where the foundations of Christianity really starts to begin as a system, right? Then you have the East Orthodox Church, and then you have the Oriental Orthodox Church. You have the Church of the East. You have the Messianic Judaism. You have Christian Science. You have the Latter-day Saints. You have the Methodism. You have the Baptists. You have Protestantism. You have Restorationism. And you have Anglicanism. You have Lutheranism. You have the Reformed Christianity. And you have Anabaptists. All right? So, and that's just simply the ones that we know, right? Like, we haven't actually gotten to the parts where even among themselves, they start to, even amongst themselves, they start to splinter off. And we're going to get into that too. I'm going to go to the list of Christian denominations right here. Let's see, as this thing loads, because there's a lot of stuff here. So you have a Christian denomination that is a distinct religious body within Christianity, identified by traits such as a name, organization, and a doctrine. So you have the Jesus, all this different type of stuff. Okay, so let me actually go down here. So Christianity can be taxonomically, move myself out of the way real quick. Christianity can be taxonomically divided into 6 main groups: the Church of the East, Oriental Orthodoxy, Eastern Orthodoxy, Roman Catholicism, Protestantism, and Restorationism. Within these 6 main traditions are various Christian denominations. For example, the Coptic Church Orthodox Church is an Oriental Orthodox denomination. Protestantism includes many groups which do not share any ecclesiastical governance and have a widely diverging beliefs and practices. Most Protestant branches include Adventism, Anabaptism, Anglicanism, Baptist, Lutheranism, Methodism, Moravianism, Quakerism, Pentecostalism, Plymouth Brethren, Reformed Christianity, and Waldensianism. Wow, that's a name. Reformed Christianity itself includes Continental Reform, Presbyterian, Evangelical Anglican, Congregationalism, and Reformed Baptist tradition. Anabaptist Christianity itself includes the Amish, Apostolic, Lutheran, Hutterite, Mennonite, River Brethren, and Schwarzenau Brethren traditions. Within the revisionist branch of Christianity, denominations include Irvingism, Swedenborgianism, Christadelphians, Latter-day Saints, Jehovah's Witnesses, La Luz del Mundo, and Iglesia en Cristo. Among those mentioned, some bodies included do not consider themselves denominations. Though for the purpose of an academic study of religion, they are categorized as a denomination that is an organized body of saints. For example, the Catholic Church considers itself the true church, the one true church, and the Holy See as pre-denominational. The Eastern Orthodox and the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Oriental Orthodox Church consider themselves to be the original church, along with the Catholic Church. The Lutheran churches have viewed themselves as the main trunk of the historical tree founded by Christ and the apostles. That during the Reformation, the Church of Rome fell away. Certain denominational traditions teach that they were divinely instituted to propagate a certain doctrine or spiritual experience. For example, the raising up of Methodism by God to propagate entire sanctification, the second blessing, or the launch of Pentecostalism to bestow the baptism with the Holy Spirit, evidenced by speaking in tongues on humanity. So to express further the complexity involved, the Roman Catholic Church and Eastern Orthodox Church were historically one and the same, as evidenced by the fact that there were the only two modern churches in existence to accept all of the first seven ecumenical council until differences rose, such as the papal authority and dominance, the rise of ecumenical patriarchate. Oh, wow, I can barely say any of these things. These are new words to me. Of Constantinople, the fall of Western Roman Empire, the continuance of empires within Eastern Roman Empire, and the final and permanent split that occurred during the Crusades with the siege of Constantinople. So this also illustrates that denominations can arise not only from religious or theological issues, but political and generational divisions as well. And we're going to talk more about that because this plays a role, again, prior to 2025 and the Christian nationalism thing. So I don't want to read every single one of these because all of this is long, and a lot of it is really due to people separating themselves from one another. In fact, there's the Church of the East. Okay, so here's the one right here, the Church of the East, Oriental Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox, like all these different names, all these different stuff. Look, you can see all these different names that come up just from the whole Orthodox Church. There are so many different things that come up when discussing the ideas of mixed Christian. Can you not see? Oh my gosh, I'm not sharing it. Oh wow, hold on a second, everyone. I'm still figuring out how to make use of how to do this whole StreamYard thing and whole sharing screen stuff. I keep forgetting that when it comes to Bing, they make their own tabs whenever you go into different tabs on this thing. I don't know, but anyway, sorry about that. So I'll just go through it again briefly. So you have the main groups, which are Church of Roman, the Church of the East, the Oriental Orthodoxy, Eastern Orthodoxy, Roman Catholicism, Protestantism, Restorationism, and then the major branches right here that I mentioned. You have, and so right here, you see the pie chart here, where it talks about that almost half of the world is Catholic. You have, go up. You have Protestant that is 39, almost 40%. Then you have the Orthodox that make up about 11%, and then you have the others that make up 5% of the world Christianity that is in the world. And even among those, you see how they're able to separate and splinter from one another. Now, I'm talking about this type of thing because this is something that comes up with Christianity very often. There's always something that comes up where someone gets some type of revelation. It's kind of been that way since I think it comes from the standpoint of action when they're printing out the Bible. There's so many Christian branches, so many of them. There's more than 200 of them that exist in total today. My father and I was talking about it, and he was talking about how when the Bible was released to the public, because in the past it was just simply the priests that were able to read and interpret things from the Bible. Once it was made public and people were able to have their own interpretations of it, this is kind of where everything was, it's in a nutshell, where you started having Protestantism that was happening within the church. I'm sure there's a whole lot more to it than that, so don't quote me to it. But the bottom line is, within the religious structure of Christianity, there is always the interpretation that comes up that allows people to split themselves from what they once were, to accept a new ideology or doctrine from their own understanding, and then see that as kind of like this revolutionary thing. It keeps happening. It's just part of the foundation, as I said before, of what makes Christianity what it is, starting with Jesus, but I think even more so when it comes to Paul, and perhaps even the whole Council of Nicaea. So the first thing we have to understand is that Christianity is a religion, and it's a religion that is divisive at its core. All right. So this actually leads into not only just what's happening now in churches, where you're having people, even on the internet today, squabbling amongst one another on what is right, what is wrong, who's living up to this biblical standards or not. It's all part of the religious root. It's all part of what makes the history of religion come alive today. I think it's separate from the faith in that there is still the core message of Jesus Christ and things like that. But you got to deal with the religious root of division, dividing itself from whatever it is that it's sourced from. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is because there is a lot of that has to deal with not only Christian nationalism, but a lot of stuff that is coming up with what is going on through the Project 25, the idolization that is going on with Trump, and the savior complex that occurs with Christianity. So let me move on to the next one. I have something I want to share with you all. As you all may know or may not know, God's Not Dead is going to release a new trailer. Or actually, it has released a new trailer, but the movie itself is going to be coming out on September 12th of this year. And the trailer is out, and I want to be able to share with you all everything that's on the trailer, because you're going to be seeing how, again, we are having this splintering again when it comes to the faith, and more specifically how it affects our socio-political and our political, really, our political arena within the United States of America. So here we are right here. See if I can make this a little bigger, make it plain, if it will allow. I don't know if I can do that here. Let me see. Can you all see that? Should be able to see that. So I'm going to move myself out of the way. Oh, actually, no. I want to move myself out of the way. And we're going to look at this. We're going to look at this trailer together. So.
We ever forget that we're one nation under God, then we will be a nation going under.
Now more than ever, Christians must realize that we're being called to deliver hope to a country that's feeling hopeless. Faith begins where your comfort zone ends. We need to step out into that faith.
We're 6 weeks out from Election Day, and a lot of folks have lost hope in the future of our country.
We must maintain a wall of separation between church and state. Religion has no place in the public square.
Once they bankrupt our country, they will have complete control.
Where did we go wrong, Lord?
We need someone who can light a fire in the voters.
The preacher. He helped on those education hearings.
I've been hired to manage your campaign for Congress.
I'm not a politician.
If you don't take on this fight, we could lose everything.
How's someone to run against you?
Are we worried about a preacher?
My next guest is a candidate for Congress. You're going to get a lot of questions about your faith.
Well, maybe people are looking for more spiritual and moral leadership in Washington.
You're making God an easy target for them, Pastor.
God's not the target, Lottie. Our country is. God's just standing in their way.
I will not be made a fool of. I won't stop until your moral high ground crumbles beneath your feet.
You don't win unless you play by their rules.
I feel like I have two options. I can either do the things my faith asks me not to, or I lose this race.
It's like God keeps putting these impossible mountains in front of me. Perhaps God put those mountains in front of you to show that they can be moved.
Please pray for David, guys.
This contest is about shaping the future of our nation.
Keep your boy in line. Because like his God, I can give it and I can take it away.
How do you know it's God?
Reverend Hill, your beliefs are a textbook example of Christian nationalism.
Whenever anyone of faith promotes a policy that you don't like, you label them a Christian nationalist. We need to stand up. Send a message to Washington. Tell them you're not ready to give that power up. You have the power to change things. Not me, not him, you.
And without God, democracy will not and cannot long endure.
All right. So there we go, everybody. That is your trailer for God's Not Dead, In God We Trust. Now, I wanted to take the time to really learn about the whole idea In God We Trust, because I was looking at a podcast earlier today called The New Evangelicals, and they were talking about how In God We Trust, that actually was not the national motto. It's actually very recent. Trying to find out that it was only recently installed by President Dwight Eisenhower. So I went to look that up to see what the national motto was, and it's E Pluribus Unum. So we're actually going to take the time to go through that particular tab today. Well, the tab that I have here discussing E Pluribus Unum and how we managed to get to In God We Trust, because this actually plays a huge pivotal role in, again, the Christian nationalism that is ever encroaching. It has been for a very long time. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. Oh yeah, we're going deep today. We are doing it. We are doing it. Yes. One does not have to be religious in order to be moral. Absolutely, that's very true. And again, more of that to come. All right. But yeah, we're going deep. We're going deep today. So E Pluribus Unum. Let's see. Actually, should I do this one first? You know what? Yeah, I'm going to do this first, and then we're going to go into the In God We Trust. So E Pluribus Unum, Latin for out of many, one, also translates to one out of many, or one from many, is a traditional motto of the United States, appearing on the Grand Seal along with Annuit Coptis. What is that, right? No, Coptis. I gotta practice my Latin. Coptis, Latin for he approves the undertaking, and Novus Ordo Seclorum, Latin for New Order of the Ages, which appear on the reverse of the Grand Seal. Its inclusion on the seal was suggested by Pierre Eugene du Cimetière and approved in an act of the Congress of the Federation in 1782. So this is letting us know that this was intended to be, since we're talking about you hear Christian nationalists talk about how the using revisionist history to talk about in God we trust is a foundational model for the United States. But it's amazing to me how this particular model, e pluribus unum, is somehow just completely erased from the conversation, right? So let's keep on going. Let's keep on going, right? Let's keep on moving. Not this one. So while its status as a national model was for many years unofficial, e pluribus unum was still considered the de facto model of the United States from its early history. Eventually, the United States Congress passed an act in 1956, HG Resolution 396, adopting "In God We Trust" as the official motto. That the phrase "E pluribus unum" has 13 letters, making its use of the original 13 colonies, which rebelled against the rule of the Kingdom of Great Britain and became the first 13 states represented today as the 13 stripes on the American flag. So essentially, what this is telling you, that this is the model that is a representation of the country, especially when you get into the first 13 colonies of the United States, ranging from Maine all the way down to Georgia. I believe that's what it is. But in any case, I have to redo my history. But in any of the case, let's actually go into the 13 colonies, so that way that I can refresh my memory of which of these which of them were it. So yeah, it is from, you got Massachusetts, you got New Hampshire, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and you have Georgia. These were the 13 colonies. So when they started to do the Constitution and started to make themselves independent, they make themselves into a country together. The colonies came together to become a nation state. Why this is being ignored for the sake of "In God We Trust" is something that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but we're going to keep it moving. And we're actually going to get further into that a little bit later once we get into "In God We Trust," because there's another page for that. The meaning of the phrase originated from the concept that out of the union of the original 13 colonies emerged a new single nation. It's emblazoned up across the scroll and clinched in the eagle's beak with the Great Seal of the United States. Origin. The 13-letter motto was suggested in 1776 by Pierre-Eugène du Cimetière to the committee responsible for developing the seal. At the time of the American Revolution, the phrase appeared regularly on the title page of the London-based Gentleman's magazine, founded in 1731, which collected articles from many sources into one periodical. This usage in turn can be traced back to the London-based Huguenot Peter Anthony Monteux, who had employed the adage for the Gentleman Journal, or the monthly miscellany. And the phrase is similar to a Latin translation of the variation of the Heraclitus 10th fragment. The one is made up of all things, and all things issue from the one. The variation of the phrase was used in Moretium, a poem belonging to the appendix Virgiliana, describing on the surface at least the making of Moretium, the kind of herb and cheese spread related to modern pesto. In the poem's text, color et pluribus unus described the blending of the colors into one. St. Augustine used a variant of that phrase, ex pluribus unum facere, make one out of many, in his Confession. But it seems more likely that the phrase refers to Cicero's paraphrase of Pythagoras in his De Officiis, as part of his discussion of basic family and social bonds as the origins of society and states. When each person loves the other as much as himself, it makes one out of many, as Pythagoras wished things to be in friendship. So this here is actually setting the standard of being united, being the United States, which now makes a whole lot of sense. This is the foundation. If you want to talk about the foundation and the of the country, the idea of many things coming together as one is the concept of what makes the United States what it's supposed to be. All right, let's continue on. Let's continue on. So we're gonna get through this. While Inuit Perpetus, he favors our undertakings, and Novus Ordo Seclorum, New Order of Ages, appeared on the reverse side of the Great Seal. E Pluribus Unum has appeared on the reverse side of the seals, that designed by Charles Thompson, the image of which is used as the national emblem of the United States and appears on official documents such as passports. This also appears on the seal of the president and in the seals of vice president of the United States Congress, of the United States House of Representatives, of the United States Senate, and the seal of the United States Supreme Court. So now we're getting into the usage of the coins. I'm not going to get too much into that. So what we're going here? Okay. The model appears on the Tribune of the United States Senate Chamber, on the flags and seals of both the House of Representatives and the Senate, the President, the Supreme Court, and the Army, and on the state flags of Michigan, New York, North Dakota, and Wisconsin. All right. So now that that's done, let's get into "In God We Trust." Okay. "In God We Trust" is the official motto of the United States, as well as the motto of the U.S. state of Florida, along with the nation of Nicaragua. It was adopted in the U.S. Congress in 1957, replacing "E Pluribus Unum" out of many one, which had been the de facto motto since the initial design of the Great Seal of the United States. So the fourth stanza of the U.S. national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, adopted from the 1814, the defense of Fort Henry, contains the line, "And this be our motto, in God is our trust." The origins of "In God We Trust" as a political motto lie in the American Civil War, where Union supporters wanted to emphasize their attachments to God and boost morale. The capital form "In God We Trust" first appeared on a 2-cent piece in 1864, and initially only appeared on coins, but it gradually became accepted among Americans. Much wider adoption followed in the 1950s. The first postage stamp with the motto appeared in 1954. A law passed in 1955 by a joint resolution in the 84th Congress and approved by President Dwight Eisenhower required that "In God We Trust" appear in all currency. This law was first implemented on the updated $1 silver certificate that entered circulation on October 1957. The 84th Congress later passed legislation also signed by President Eisenhower on July 30th, 1956, declaring the phrase to be the national motto. Several states also mandated and authorized its use in public institutions or schools, while Florida, Georgia, and Mississippi incorporated the phrase in some of their state symbols. The motto has also been used in some cases in other countries, most notably on Nicaragua coins. So I saw the extra stuff here. I'm not getting into all of that, but I want to actually get into how this started the de facto motto. Let's see. So it was on the coins. So reactions, is it here? I want to make sure I'm following the. Okay, give me this one moment because I know that there was a key thing that I wanted to highlight in here. Okay, so right here, the road to universal mandate. It is generally thought that during the Cold War, the government of the United States sought to distinguish itself from the Soviet Union, which promoted state atheism and thus implemented anti-religious legislation. Therefore, a debate for further usage of the religious motto was started in Congress. Kevin M. Cruz offered an alternative explanation. In his book, he wrote that conservative opposition to the New Deal and those politicians' subsequent successful campaigns to expand the influence of religion were the main factors that contributed to the further adoption of In God We Trust. The Eisenhower administration struck a deeply religious tone, which proved a fertile ground for lobbying for inclusion of the motto for more context. It was often attributed to the influence of Billy Graham, a prominent evangelist of the time. After intense public pressure for inclusion on the national motto, it appeared for the first time on some postage stamps of 1954, Liberty issue, though lobbying for universal inclusion by Michigan Senator Charles E. Potter and Representative Louis C. Rabout failed. In the following year, Democratic Representative Charles Edward Bennett of Florida cited the Cold War when he was introducing H.R. 619, which obliged In God We Trust to be printed on all banknotes and struck on all coins in the House, arguing that in these days, when imperialistic and materialistic communism seeks to attack and destroy freedom, we should continually look for ways to strengthen the foundations of our freedom. The American Numismatic Association and the American Legion concurred and made resolutions urging to promote further usage of In God We Trust. And on July 11th, 1955, the bill having passed with bipartisan support of both the Chamber of Congress was signed into law by President Eisenhower. Since the coins already complied with the law, the only changes that were made was to paper currency. The motto first appeared on the $1 silver certificate in 1957, followed by other certificates. Federal Reserve notes and United States notes were circulated with the motto from 1964 to 1966, depending on the denomination. Hold on, give me a second. I am wanting to make sure that I catch onto the live nation. All right. Okay, good. So now I'm able to great or see comments more easily. All right. So, bottom line, many people talk about the In God We Trust, but no one is really talking about the E Pluribus Unum, which is essential to talking about the United States of America. This right here, moving forward, let me move forward so I can get to this and go up. E Pluribus Unum, one out of many, is us coming together to where we are acting united as a country. When it comes to the idea of the savior complex that is going on with Trump and what is happening with in support of Trump, with God's Not Dead and so many other things, we're not necessarily seeing the united efforts that is supposed to be working together along with the country. What we are seeing are a group of people who are claiming to be Christians coming together to unify themselves with another party. They call this well, according to the Heritage Foundation, what they're not coming against is a party. They're coming against evil, but they're giving the evil a name, which is the left. And for politics, and you look inside of the Project 2025, you see a lot of things that they are dismantling because they are seeing this as issues and threats to the Republic of the United States of America. This is why they are pushing for a lot of things to be Christian and representation of the Constitution, even though the Constitution is not fundamentally American. This has always been something that has been pushed onto the American people, just like what we described in God We Trust. It has been moving us away from us working together and being united as a foundation, and trying to make In God We Trust, trying to make Christian fundamentalism as the foundation that we are supposed to work together and work on. All right. So I wanted to move on to a different video that I have here that I wanted to share with you all to display the challenge that is happening. That is happening here. Look at so many different videos here. So I got. Let me see what I can find over here. By the way, if you are enjoying the content, you all make sure that you hit the like button. Make sure that you share this out to someone who could really listen to this. I know that I'm tripping over my words a lot as I'm trying to find my way through this particular topic. Like I said, I was not as prepared as I would have liked to have been discussing this particular thing. Let's see what I can find. Because I got quite a few. So I guess we can start here. All right. So we're going to actually go through a couple of these videos. Actually, what I could start with. Let me see what I could start with here. I'll do this one. This one right here are the videos from Young Turk. Let's see. So tap screen and then present, share. All right, let's see.
Probably, right?
What illegal immigrants is going to happen no matter what.
47% of Americans in a recent poll said that they think there could be civil war in this country. Do you see that?
I'm in the Army. I don't want that. I don't want civil war.
Are you active duty?
I'm National Guard, but I'm going deployment this November of this year. And I don't want civil war. People is talking about war and things like that. People who don't know nothing about it. This is something that should never happen. I hope it never happen, because civil war or any type of war is a horrible thing. A lot of people are going to die. A lot of people are going to suffer. I don't even want to think about this, this type of thing, because civil war is a big word. It's a big word.
Hold on, mess up out of here.
Better not people is using it like for nothing, but I'm telling you.
Sorry for the delay, everybody. I'm trying to
know nothing about war, about what it is, suffering, this type of things.
A recent poll said 47% of Americans think that there is going to be a civil war in this country. Do you agree with that?
Could happen with the turning point in this country and the way things are going and how bad it's gotten. I think the people are tired. I think they're fed up. And
with what specifically? I want to ask this question because if you look at the numbers, we have historically low unemployment. Inflation is coming down. The Fed is going to most likely be lowering interest rates. People are getting back to work, and cities are opening up again. In general, I just want to know what the doom stuff is. Like, what is the bad stuff?
Well, I don't think that's true at all.
I'm not inventing that. I'm just going off the numbers we always go off of historically.
Yeah, I mean, where are these numbers coming from? Like, well, I think inflation's at the highest. I think
inflation is up, but it's coming down, is what I'm saying. And the same measurements that we've used for Reagan and Clinton and Obama and Trump and Bush and everybody, we're using now, as we always have. So I'm curious as to where the things are not good is coming from.
I mean, we got crime running rapid in the inner cities, in all of our democratic cities. We got, like I said, gas prices record high. Yeah, of course they're coming down now. Inflation's coming down now because we're getting close to the election. But the past 3 years, it's been a show, to say the least.
And do you blame the president for that?
100%. I blame his whole everything for that. All the Democrats for that.
So the Democrat,
it was not like that. Everyone was prospering. People were making money.
Well, we had a pandemic and people were out of work. It was a disaster, the economy.
Yeah, the pandemic. Of course, it happens during Trump's election. No coincidence there.
Well, I mean, it's not coincidence or incidents. It just happened. And the way, during Bush, the World Trade Center was bombed. I mean, those are things that happen to U.S. presidents, right?
I mean, there's a lot that can be looked into all of that. But I don't know, I just think the way the country is now, how bad it is, and yeah, you can say the numbers are going down and whatnot, but yeah, we're getting close to the election. I just think that Trump will bring everything back to the way it should have been, these past 4 years, and that's what it is.
Does President Biden love America?
I don't think so, no.
Can you turn to the left because is that Trump you have shaved into your head there? You must really love the guy then, huh?
I care about him because he loves America and he's different and he's not the regular politician guy, and that's why it made me vote for my first time in my life in 2016.
You say he loves America, but he broke American law. Does that give you any pause about supporting a felon for president?
No, it's all a scam with them about the courts.
Does that give you pause at all, voting for someone who was convicted of a felony?
Absolutely not. That was a sham trial, and Joe Biden showers with his daughter, so I'd much rather have somebody who has 34 false counts of felony against him than someone who showers with his preceding daughter.
Yeah, I don't know that part's true, but he does have the 34 counts. If you think it was a sham, what about the Hunter Biden trial? Do you think that was a sham as well?
Absolutely not. There was video evidence of his sister-in-law throwing the gun into the dumpster, and it was his gun, but cocaine residue found on the holster. So not a sham trial.
Question as to why that one wasn't a sham and the first one was. Whatever you think of the other potential trials he's going to have to face, that one seemed to have enough evidence to get 12 of our peers to convict him.
Well, the SEC refused to press charges against Trump for the same issue, and they're the ones that have jurisdiction over that matter.
Both do, but you're right.
Well, that's why.
Yeah.
Right. The federal government refused to press charges, and the federal government only press charges if they feel they can get a conviction, and they didn't feel like they could get a conviction, so they didn't press charges against them.
Well, they deferred actually to New York, right, which is what they do in practice.
It wasn't a state issue.
But okay, well, it happened in New York, and that becomes a state issue, right?
Sure.
That said, this really isn't a federal crime; it's a state crime. You're wearing a shirt with his picture on it. That's his mugshot picture when he surrendered to the police, and underneath it says "Never surrender." But that's the day he surrendered. Why is there pride in a felon president?
You believe he's a felon?
Well, I mean, I'm saying by law he is. He was convicted. That's what.
But when you look at that trial, the whole trial thing, the judge, he basically said, "Don't go off of the evidence. Go off of your heart." Which is basically saying, like, if you don't like this guy, vote him as guilty. And the judge's daughter is literally selling Joe Biden merch at the same time as this trial is going on. If that doesn't sound rigged to you, like the election was in 2020.
You think the election was rigged?
Oh, 100%.
What makes you say that?
What makes me say that? Maybe the fact that whenever Trump was like all these thousands of votes up, they said, we're having problems currently. Let's pause this.
Right, but that's because there were so many mail-in ballots because of the
But
pandemic.
why was there so many?
The pandemic, because people didn't want to vote in person.
But every one of these mail-in ballots was Democrat.
Well, that's not so.
That's not what.
That's not so. They weren't all.
It was almost every mail-in ballot was almost for Joe Biden.
Yeah, that's not so, but that's not what I'm asking. I'm more asking if you would, if you said you thought it was rigged, that's your position.
I know.
Would you?
It's not. I thought. I know it was rigged.
Well, neither of us. Okay. The courts.
Is it a fact? No.
Yeah. Right. Okay. That's okay. If it's a fact, let's leave it at that. What is it that excites you about President Trump?
His business economics, like his business lifestyle, and.
But ma'am, can I ask you, like, he was just convicted of a felony in court because of the way he conducted business, in a sense, bookkeeping and covering something up. Does that give you pause at all?
No, it doesn't, because I don't know much about it, and it just kind of looked like they may have tried to frame him or pin it on him, because it's like, how come that didn't occur prior to the election, like them seeking him out for those offenses prior to the election. So I don't know, it just seems kind of fishy. And I feel like in life, majority of people do things wrong, and I just feel like it's not something necessarily like that we have to.
You think the majority will do things wrong?
Half. Probably half. No one's perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell me what happened. But you were on the list.
Okay, so this is the golf woman who is just, I'm not going to include her because she's not actually within like support of the whole Trump thing per se. She's actually was there to kind of essentially troll. But what I'm looking at, give you all this particular video because there is this almost kind of like admiration for Trump. I know. And there's more. You can check that out on the Young Turks. Right, you can check that out at the Young Turks. They have plenty. Yeah, they have plenty of information regarding these people who are going to these rallies in support of Trump, and you see their thought process, right? But the idea is that they are believing that this guy is going to save this country, especially from everything that has been happening for the past 4 years now. It's been almost 4 years. I think, close to it. Anyway, at this point in the time, these are people who are believing that Trump is going to bring them back to how things used to be. Particularly when it comes to the economy and things like that. Come to find out, these are people who don't seem to be really aware of everything that is happening, outside of the fact that they believe that Trump is, going to save them from the inflation, save them from having to go into war, or the prices of gas and everything. You see a lot of educational issues and understanding of things, just from the standpoint between personal economy or your personal finances and the economy. You just simply said they don't really have a whole lot to go on other than just being in support of Donald Trump. What's going on with my network? Let me see. I'm starting to have that glitch network. But essentially, again, having the idea that if this man gets into office, my life is going to be better. So let's go ahead and get him into office. Never mind the troubling issues with Trump regarding the bankruptcies, never mind the issues with the felonies, never mind the issues of just some type of just moral problems. And again, if you go to Young Turk and you start seeing more of these MAGA followers, you'll see more and more of these things where they try to excuse so many things about Trump just for the sake of they believe that it's going to help them get back to the America that they want. It's very, very interesting. It's very interesting to watch the people who are the public, who are part of the the people who support Donald Trump, and then those who are actually in political seats, who are in power. Like you could just kind of tell, like, even though the people that are in power, these are actually the ones who are trying to make the Christian nation thing happen. You see, in Louisiana, they've already instituted the 10 Commandments to be into law in schools. There's in Oklahoma, they're trying to get kids to understand the Bible and be thoroughly ingrained into the Bible. You see the Supreme Court that has granted presidential immunity. And then there's the talk of, deconstructing the Department of Education. There's so many things. There's so many things that's going on. And I think Trump even has his own plans that the American people who are supporting him may not even be prepared to handle. I don't even think they really know everything that Trump has in mind, because Trump is not just going to simply follow whatever the Republican Party is desiring. He's going to follow his own agenda, as he always has. But this goes to the idea of the savior complex that is often found in Christians, and the thing that keeps coming up with the "In God We Trust" and moving things towards Christian nationalism. It is trying to push us into almost kind of like accepting that somebody must bring us back into the whole idea of needing Jesus and bringing God, the Christian God specifically, back into the United States. And the one who is going to do that, or who's going to embolden that and empower that, is Trump, along with the Heritage Foundation, who is holding the Project 2025 and the conservative movement that is taking place. But many people are, when you talk about the whole thing, you're not even hearing them talk about Project 2025. You mainly just hear them talking about Trump. I don't even know if many of these people are aware of what Project 2025 is, or how they would be personally affected by it, particularly those who are, non-white. But again, it's about Trump. It's about making sure that Trump gives me my money, helps me to get back to normal, helps us to get things back into a world of normalcy, of American Republican normalcy that we need in society. That is the push. That's what we're constantly seeing with people. Even if it defies logic, they'll still do it. All right. Now, I want to talk about one other thing. We're gonna talk about the God Bless America Bible. I guess the God Bless USA Bible. This is the Bible that Trump produced. Oh wow, there's like a couple of these. Okay, here we go, guys. All right. So,
with my very good friend Lee Greenwood, who doesn't love his song "God Bless the USA" in connection with Greenwood, who doesn't love his song "God Bless the USA" in connection with promoting the God Bless the USA Bible. This Bible is the King James Version and also includes our founding father documents. Yes, the Constitution, which I'm fighting for every single day, very hard, to keep Americans protected. Also, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance are all part of this God Bless the USA Bible. And it's just very important and very important to me. I want to have a lot of people have it. You have to have it for your heart, for your soul. Many of you have never read them and don't know the liberties and rights you have as Americans and how you are being threatened to lose those rights. It's happening all the time. It's a very sad thing that's going on in our country, but we're going to get it turned around. Religion and Christianity are the biggest things missing from this country. And I truly believe that we need to bring them back, and we have to bring them back fast. I think it's one of the biggest problems we have. That's why our country is going haywire. We've lost religion in our country. All Americans need a Bible in their home, and I have many. It's my favorite book. It's a lot of people's favorite book. This Bible is a reminder that the biggest thing we have to bring back America and to make America great again is our religion. Religion is so important. It's so missing, but it's going to come back, and it's going to come back strong, just like our country is going to come back strong. In the end, we do not answer to bureaucrats in Washington. We answer to God in heaven. Christians are under siege. We must protect content that is pro-God. We love God, and we have to protect anything that is pro-God. We must defend God in the public square and not allow the media or the left-wing groups to silence, censor, or discriminate against us. We have to bring Christianity back into our lives and back into what will be again a great nation. Our founding fathers did a tremendous thing when they built America on Judeo-Christian values. Now that foundation is under attack, perhaps as never before. What can we do? Stand up, speak out, and pray that God will bless America again. I'm proud to endorse and encourage you to get this Bible. We must make America pray again. Pray, get educated, get motivated, and stand with me and the legions of Americans asking God to bless our great nation, to bring our great nation back, and to make America great again. I'm proud to partner with Lee in this offering. He's a very special man, both as a talent, but maybe even more so as a human being. He's very, very special. And I think you all should get a copy of God Bless the USA Bible now and help spread our Christian values with others. There you have it. Let's make America pray again. God bless you, and God bless the USA.
But we just read earlier, right, that the whole idea of America, of the United States of America, was not founded upon Christian principles like that. It was founded upon the working together to be a single nation. All right. So you see that the U.S. Bible is there. There was somebody.
I'm proud to be
it. I don't. Not gonna. Let me see if I can try to just skip through it so that way I can get to like certain parts. This is somebody who has actually like been able to go through like
it's about an inch thick box or anything. It just came wrapped up in a little bit of plastic USA, and then it has like the American flag. It is kind of Holy Bible on the spine, clean on the back. Now I saw some in leather, which made sense to me when I saw that it was $60, but it's not. This is not genuine leather. This is a synthetic leather.
I want to make sure you guys heard that Bible when he bought it at the time, it was $60 for the look of genuine leather, when it actually was not made from genuine leather at all. It's actually made of plastic, looking like leather. But let's continue.
Look at that. You can even see like a crease in it. Like this one kind of got bent a little bit, and so it's kind of got a crease in it already. But this is a very kind of smooth. A lot of companies use this synthetic leather for their Bibles, but this doesn't even look like leather. It's there. You see like there's another little ding in it where it's already been damaged. It doesn't have a perimeter stitch or anything like that. Honestly, it feels pretty fake and cheap to me. So that shocks me that the Bible was $75 shipped, because most publishers with their synthetic leather Bibles are going to be like $30-40 at most. Sometimes you can get them for like under $20. So, but I mean, just like overall, that's what it looks like. It's kind of a nice thin line. It's about 1 inch thick, and then it's right at 6 by 9 inches tall. So it's kind of a standard kind of large print thin line Bible size. It's got a single ribbon, which looks nice. It's like a gold double-sided ribbon, and it's got some gold gilding on the pages, which looks pretty nice and steady, which, I mean, there's a couple of marks in there you can see in there straight out of the box, but that part of it looks pretty nice. It's a paste down liner. So you see the end sheets there. It's kind of a marbled yellow look. And then opening it up. So this is one of the things that one of my friends sent me a message and said, do you think, wait, real quick, I'll show you that in a second. Presentation page. This actually looks a lot like a Zondervan presentation page. And if you've, when they first announced this Bible a few years ago, it was going to be published by Zondervan, and then they got a lot of pushback. And so they decided not to publish it. So they went with an independent publisher, and they weren't able to use the NIV anymore. So they used the King James Version. So KJV, public domain, anybody can make a Bible, any manufacturer. So there's the ISBN number. That's the only, this is what I was going to say a moment ago, the only thing I can find in terms of like about this Bible. Normally you'd go right here, and on this page of most Bibles is going to be a copyright page that has information about everything. They don't have a copyright page here. There's one little thing at the bottom that says typesetting copyright by GQ Design. That's who did the typesetting of the Bible, but there's no information about the copyright of the Bible itself, or what you also see on a page like that is where it was printed. A lot of Bibles like this are printed in China. And I'm shocked if Donald Trump was promoting a Bible that was printed and bound in China, but I literally can't find it. I looked on their website. It says nothing about where it was printed. That is a little bit suspicious to me that they're not telling us where these Bibles were printed, which makes me think that it's definitely not in the United States, because I think they would proudly put that in here if it was, and that it's likely somewhere in Asia, particularly probably someplace like China. So, and then you go straight into the Bible. There's not a preface. There's not anything. It just goes straight into the Bible. You can see it's a 2-column, verse-by-verse typesetting. It does give you little paragraph markers, so you can see where you have a new paragraph. There's no textual footnotes. There's no cross-references. It's literally just the text of Scripture. And I would say it was just like kind of opening that up. It does open, by the way. This Bible does open really flat. Like, it's very nice and flat. It's kind of like that part of it's nice. I would say that when I look at this Bible, the typesetting is difficult to read for a couple of reasons. One, it is a large print. I would guess that this is about a 10 or 11 point typeface, but it's very thin paper. There's a lot of ghosting or bleed through or show through from the other side of the page. So that can be a little bit distracting. The paper is very thin, but also the words are just jam packed onto the page. It's very tightly put in there. And so it's not a comfortable reading experience, just in terms of like the space between the lines, the space between the letters, the things like that. It just feels like it's kind of jammed in there. So it's not a super comfortable reading of the Bible. Then you get into the Psalms, like the poetic sections are the exact same. They don't give you like a poetic typesetting. Everything looks identical. And then you get into the New Testament, and the only thing that changes is that it becomes a red letter Bible. And you can see there, it's kind of a faded, kind of pinkish red letter for the words of Christ. Really, I mean, none of the pages are sticking together too bad. And then you go straight through, again, you go straight through the Bible. You end in Revelation, and the last page of Revelation is side by side. Now we're going to do like a glossier cardstock, thicker cardstock. This is Lee Greenwood, I guess, his handwriting for the lyrics to God Bless the USA at the back of the Bible. So you end with the end of Revelation talking about the return of Jesus, and then you go straight into God Bless the USA. Okay. And then the Declaration of Independence here, complete with a bald eagle. This is in the Bible. I'm back here at the back. And then the signers of the Declaration of Independence. Then you get the United States Constitution. Article 1, there we go, powers of impeachment. That is stuck together. Okay, that ripped. That page ripped. It was stuck together a little bit. So that one ripped when I was going through it. But so you get the Declaration of Independence. more ripping on that one. You do see some sewed stitching in there, so it's sewn text block. No, one more stuck together. That one didn't rip too bad. And then you get the Bill of Rights in here, and then you get the Pledge of Allegiance. So what do we got? We got the lyrics to God Bless the USA. We got the Constitution. We got the Declaration of Independence. And we got the Bill of Rights. And then we've got the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, and then we've got the Statue of Liberty themed lined note paper down here on the bottom. Still glossy, kind of a thicker cardstock. You got a few pages of lined notebook paper if you want to take some notes while you're reading the Bible, or get some autographs from your favorite political leaders. And then you have some blank cardstock there at the end for the end sheets. So pretty straightforward. Again, the questions I had was about the quality of this for paying $60 to $75 for it. And to me, this feels like a bar. Seems like a place that might have something like this. I would expect this Bible to be maybe $15 to $20 tops. And again, I've seen lots of Bibles, so I kind of have a good feel for what these things should cost. And overall, just kind of underwhelming in terms of the typesetting, and then the main thing that's kind of the selling point, I guess, for this Bible is all of this stuff that they've added to the back of the Bible, the American documents and things like that. So yeah, God bless you.
Okay, so that was that. That was that. So I'm sharing all these things because this is the thing that Trump is running on to sell, and the Heritage Foundation and all those who are doing Project 2025. This is the thing that they're running and banking on, which is the idea of Christian nationalism. Pretty much just like that God bless America, God bless the USA Bible is, having all the scriptures there, and then implementing the nationalist values such as the Constitution, the articles, and things like that inside of that. This is the America that people who are on the far right, and for those who are MAGA supporters, this is the Christianity that they are aiming for. And this is why they are looking to Trump. It's the main reason why they're looking to Trump. They're following Trump as he supports the idea of being more conservative and being Christian-like. Now, I wanted to talk about really quickly, since I'm talking about the whole idea of the church and stuff like that. People are wondering why there are those that are in the congregation who are wanting to leave, who have complaints about, people struggling with, trying to accept Christianity. One of the things that we seem to really notice about Christianity is, as I said before, there was always this need to be in control. And it's actually a lot of this revolutionary stuff that occurs with separating from oneself. There's always this need of using one's interpretation to control the narrative of the actual Bible, to the point where it's almost kind of like their own ideology. It's almost kind of like they're using their own ideology, their own understanding of things to try to, how would I say this? Because it's different. Even though it's different, it's a one common thing. It's like people are wanting to implement their own ideology, their own viewpoints, either onto people or do it in a way where it makes sense to them. And going back to what I was saying before, I was looking at the basement with Tim Ross, and he was talking about the scrimmage between Christians and why is it that Christians can't seem to really get along with one another and talk about each other, and do this and that. Why is it that Christians seem to be getting away with so much in this day and time? Why there's so many legalistic Christians and things like that? There's always seeming to be this need to be in control to the point where it is actually watering down the message of Jesus Christ and what he was there to be, which is the fulfillment of the law, right? The fulfillment of the Mosaic law that was passed down. with all these different variations that are coming out, even with this one, the Christian nationalism, and us turning back to the Christian faith as a nation, there are so many things that are being used as revisionist history to bring us to that. This is the type of thing that is getting people tired of the church. It's getting people tired of religion in general, but particularly when it comes to Christianity, it's the very thing that gets people tired of the Christian faith. There was always this need to present some sort of control or some form of legalism that is always in representation of the faith, or trying to make people either accept the faith, trying to force the faith onto people. It is very clear that the Heritage Foundation the Heritage Foundation, the right-wing conservative, and Donald Trump, however he's aiming to do that, there is the concerted effort in ensuring that the nation gets back to God by any means necessary, even if it means to villainize a group of people who are dissenting, or villainizing in an ideology that people may embrace as the left. You often see within like those who are believing in the Christian nationalism, and we talk about Christian nationalism, I'm not just simply talking about those who are actually racist, or those who are like the kind of like a branch off of the idea of the white supremacy. Even though I don't use white supremacy that often, you have to really look at the representation of who wants to bring this stuff into existence. It's largely conservative white people, right? But it's the idea that this nation needs to have Christianity as its moral grounding and its moral foundation, when it never was the case, according to the Constitution that they were talking about, and according to history. Like I've mentioned before, the focal point of the nation was to ensure that the people would work together, that these colonies that came across at the time would work together to become a single nation. In other words, they were truly being united as the United States. That's why they came together to create that Constitution, among other things. And it was not founded on Christian principles. It was actually founded upon secular principles that would help to establish a nation. All right, there's people who are from the Enlightenment, people who were Quakers, who were involved into that bill, who were not just the regular, typical Christians. There is this need for some reason to keep forcing people into accepting something that they may or may not even truly believe in, for the sake of this God, this entity, and the God and the entity that they worship does not even do that type of thing. The person that they are wanting to have as the example, Jesus, would never do this type of thing. Yet this is the Christianity that they are imposing. This is the very thing that is causing people to want to separate. This need to try to, it's a way to colonize. It is a way to imperialize and to take over. And yet, I know that Hugh the Eclectic Tarot, she has done readings. She has done like reading, and she's gone over content on her platform where there are Christians that are constantly talking about witches and warlocks, and what they should be doing to like either save the community, and how evil and dangerous the stuff is that they're doing, yet somehow are finding themselves into esoteric spaces and making them Christian, such as with kingdom marriages, some of these prophecies that are going about, like people are acting like psychics, claiming to be prophets, stuff like that. These are the types of things that people are paying attention to. And people are worried about the apostasy that is coming from Christians who are in the modern church now. What could happen with this whole idea of the Christian nationalism that is occurring? So this telling me my battery is low. My battery is not on the charger, so I need to hurry up and get this thing charge. But this is something that I wanted to bring to you today. I know there are a lot of people who are having their concerns about the things that are going on with Project 2025, the nation, but a lot of these things are rooted in a yet another revolutionary example, another form of revolutionary example, I should say, of Christianity trying to again use interpretation to be, or even to return a nation to God. It's always been the case. It has always been the religion, and unfortunately, it is not something that I don't believe is going to be going away anytime soon. That is just the faith. I think that for those who are Christian, you need to be very mindful of what that foundation standpoint that comes rooted in division, and you find ways to overcome that without having to squabble amongst one another. But you do need to know that it's there, because that need to divide itself and splinter, so that way that it can see itself as something better, is playing a role in what is going on with the Christian nationalism that is existing today. And it's definitely playing a role of people not wanting to be involved with Christianity, because people are seeing the flaws for what it actually is. It's taken me some time to have to deal with that. I have had to do some deconstruction myself and come to the realization that whatever is the foundation of anything, and even with the country itself, there are stuff that are foundational, that if you don't really deal with it at its root, it will never really truly change. And we're seeing throughout the time, even from the standpoint of in God we trust, and how that has replaced e pluribus unum and all these different things of needing to try to find a savior. There are so many people who are trying to find a savior in everything. Christian nationalism is not the only one that's doing that. I've even seen this in certain spaces, even pro-Black spaces. People are always trying to find somebody that can help them and save them from themselves. Listen, nobody's going to save you but you. But if you're constantly giving your power away to somebody else, this is the type of stuff that typically happens. And people are watching that, and it's giving people more of a reason to stay away from the Christian faith. If you are a Christian, you need to recognize what is going on within your religion and what is going on within the country that is playing a role in not only people looking down upon your religion, but also how this very religion is trying to create dominance and control over everything, including you, for those of you who do not think the same way as the far right Christians are with the Christian nationalism. All right. So I'm going to end it there. Thank you all for taking time to listen to me. I hope this was something that was very helpful to you, enlightening. I know I used some other people's content. I can only hope, pray that I don't get struck down. This video is not monetized, so I can only hope that the stuff will stay up. But I hope that you were able to enjoy it. Make sure that you hit the like button, and make sure that you are able to, if you're new here, make sure you hit the like button. Share this out to somebody who could use this. Again, I am very impartial with how I do things. I'm not necessarily the usual content creator. I am just being me on my own platform. Yes, fair use. All this stuff is in fair use. All of it's in fair use. And I hope that it was helpful in proving my point to you all. That's all that I was trying to do. No offense to any of the content creators that I was reaching out to. But this is something that was important for the conversation. So fair use. All right. Thank you. And have a good one. Let me see what Q is saying. He said, if you ever need to use my content for education, Kev, I won't strike you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Q. I really appreciate it. I can only hope that the same is true for everyone else. All right. So catch you later, guys. This was a fun time. And there are more videos that will be on the way. I went for over an hour. Wow. Almost an hour and 30 minutes. Actually, an hour and 25 minutes. Thank you all for your time. Thanks for everybody who joined me. If you have anything that you want to say, you can leave your comments down below after the video. And I'll be able to respond if it's not too crazy. All right. So catch you guys later. Bye-bye.